India's Test cricket conundrum: poor pitches, pitiful players, or problematic policies? India didn't just lose a low-scoring thriller at Eden Gardens, they surrendered a position of strength on home soil chasing 124 and were bundled out for 93. South Africa, with one established Test batter and a clutch of relatively inexperienced players in Asian conditions, walked away with a 30-run win and their first victory in India in 15 years. On a treacherous pitch, yes. But on a different planet? No. South Africa batted on the same surface, faced the same demons, and still found a way. So what really went wrong? Let's unpack the three pillars you flagged. The pitch: how bad was it really, and is that a legitimate excuse? The players: why this modern Indian side looks increasingly uncomfortable in true Test battles. The policies, selection, and tactical thinking that signal doubt, confusion, and a slide towards bits and pieces cricket. 1. The pitch: villain, accomplice, or convenient scapegoat? Let's be honest, Eden was not a good Test wicket. It offered extravagant lateral movement, wild, inconsistent bounce, a surface where even 150 looked in the game. But here's the key point. South Africa scored 159 and 153 on it. India managed 189 and 93. On day 3, the pitch was tough, but Temba Bavuma showed that it was not unplayable. His 55 asterisk, stitched through grit rather than glamour, was the only 50 of the match. He trusted his defense, left well, played late, and accepted that 25 off 90 balls might sometimes be worth more than 60 off 60. India's response to the same conditions? Over-attacking at times, over-defensive at others, but rarely calm. Old-school crisis batting, dig in, wear it, survive seemed to have gone out of their DNA. As soon as the ball misbehaved, panic set in both in the middle and, crucially, in the dressing room. So yes, the pitch contributed. It was unfair by ideal Test standards. But the differential lay in application and strategy, not soil. South Africa treated the pitch as a hostile exam to be passed. India treated it like an insult that had ruined their script. The pitch didn't expose India. It merely amplified what was already there. 2. The players: pampered, impatient, and losing the art of the grind? The death of the old-school Test innings. Look at the match in micro. India chasing 124. Both openers knocked over early by Johnson as the ball leapt off a length. Washington Sundar at number 3 playing the only vaguely Bavuma-like innings, 31 off 92. Dhruv Jurel gifting his wicket to a long hop. Ravindra Jadeja falling twice in the match with pad-first LBW defence behind the pad. Rishabh Pant, the most natural match winner, worked over and tied down by Harmer, then done by dip and turn. At no stage in the chase did India manage a boring, ugly, 30-run stand that chewed up 15 overs. Everyone wanted to solve it in one over, either with a flurry of boundaries or a heroic counter-attack. The "we'll wear you down, then win" mentality that defined the old West Indies and great Aussie teams simply wasn't there. What this suggests? Too much short-format muscle memory, looking for instant release shots instead of soaking pressure. A lack of collective pride in batting time. Modern India still produces great batters, but on this day there was no one willing to bat ugly and take the scars. Comfort zones and pampered preparation. You can see the outlines of a bigger problem. Many top players juggle IPL, bilateral white ball, and short Test series with little time to grind in tough first-class conditions. Home Tests often feature spin-friendly but predictable surfaces, where matches are done inside 3 days, but usually with India on top. On this Eden pitch, where seam, reverse swing, and high bounce combined with spin, India's batters looked like they had not rehearsed that script in a long time. The result? As soon as conditions were not controlled tough but chaotic tough, India looked unsure. Do we attack like a T20 chase? Do we shut shop and hope the pitch comes down? Who takes responsibility to bat 150 balls? No one seemed to know, and that indecision is a mindset issue, not a talent issue. 3. Selection and policies, bits and pieces thinking, foggy roles. Washington at number 3. No overs. What are we doing? One of the strangest aspects of this test. Washington Sundar batted at number 3, played to fighting knocks. Yet wasn't used at all with the ball on the decisive third morning, despite India picking 3 spinners. What message does that send? You are good enough to be our crisis number 3. But we don't trust you as an attack option when the match is alive. That's classic bits and pieces usage. Select players for multiple skills, then underuse or misuse both. It suggests muddled thinking rather than a clear plan. Over-reliance on multi-skill players, under-trust in specialists. Compare the two sides. Clarity. South Africa knew exactly what Harmer was, a specialist, attacking off-spinner given full responsibility on a pitch that suited him. They knew what Johnson was, their enforcer, exploiting bounce and unevenness. Around those roles, others slotted in. India, meanwhile. 3 spinners, but only one, Jadeja, consistently trusted as a strike threat, and even he seemed tactically misused at times, over the wicket at the wrong moments, leg stump lines, DRS desperation. Washington seemingly selected because he can do a bit of everything, which often means doing nothing fully. The attack balance looked like an attempt to cover every scenario rather than dominate one clear plan. Champion teams, that old West Indies or peak Australia template, back their specialists to an almost arrogant degree. Here's what we do better than you. We'll impose that, regardless of the conditions. India here looked like they were trying to outthink conditions at the cost of their identity. See, tactical muddle on the final morning. That final morning told you a lot. Opening with Axer instead of the more threatening seamers on a tricky pitch. Rapid, almost panicky bowling changes as singles flowed. Jadeja bowling over the wicket, pitching outside leg, using reviews that never looked close. Washington not given a single over in a phase where tight, disciplined off-spin at one end could have built pressure. This is the opposite of what champion teams do defending small totals. One clear plan. 2 bowlers trusted to run with it. Everyone else in service of that plan. India looked like a team trying everything for 5 minutes and truly believing in nothing for 30. 4. Mentality, still not fully at ease at the top table? On paper, India are World Test champions, a powerhouse at home, capable of iconic away wins in Australia, and increasingly dangerous everywhere. But there's a recurring thread. In genuinely extreme conditions, green tops abroad, spicy unpredictable tracks at home, or high-pressure low chases, there's a tendency to overcomplicate, overreact, and mentally shrink. Instead of saying, we are the better side, we'll do what we do best for longer than you, India sometimes play like a team worried about making mistakes. That's where your phrase, imposter syndrome at cricket's top table, bites. The truly dominant dynasties, West Indies of the ATS Australia under Wouf and Ponting, walked into chaos and assumed they would handle it better. They weren't perfect, but the mindset was, whatever the pitch, whatever the target, we are still favourites and we'll prove it. At Eden, India walked out chasing 124 almost as if they were waiting to be ambushed. South Africa, in contrast, had already decided they could win long before the winning moment. 5. So, poor pitches, pitiful players, or problematic policies. If we have to apportion responsibility. Pitch, 25%. Yes, it was below ideal test standards. Yes, it made batting brutally hard. But both teams played on it, and South Africa found a way to score the match's most important runs. Players, 35%. Technical issues under high bounce and movement. Lack of patience and pride in batting time. Failure to build even one stubborn partnership in a chase of 124. Too few willing to bat ugly for the team. Policies and mindset, 40%. Bits and pieces selection and muddy role definitions. Underuse of certain skills, Washington's bowling, over-reliance on others. Tactical panic instead of a ruthless, champion plan. A subtle but real fear of failure, rather than a ruthless expectation of victory. 6. What has to change? Thinking like a champion side again. If India really want to mirror that old West Indies-Australia aura, we can better anything you do. They need more than talent and home advantage. Recenter test identity. Reward players with proven first-class grit and long innings temperament. Select, and then back, proper specialists rather than endless all-round cover. Revalue the art of survival. Normalize 25 of 100 balls in a crisis as a match-winning contribution, not a failure to move the game on. Celebrate the boring sessions where India concede 40 runs in 25 overs and lose 1 wicket. Clarify roles, simplify tactics. Decide who your strike bowlers are in each condition and let them run games. Stop the constant chopping and changing mid-session that screams insecurity. Adopt a ruthless psychological edge. Walk into tough conditions expecting to win because you are better prepared, not hoping conditions magically turn your way. Embrace tougher home pitches, but pair them with a clear plan and the right personnel. India are too good, too deep, and too experienced to be rolled for 93 chasing 124 at home without some serious soul-searching. This defeat doesn't mean they aren't an elite test side. It means that underneath the trophies and rankings, there are fault lines in selection, mentality, and preparation that a hungry, disciplined opponent like South Africa can exploit. Fix those, and Eden becomes a harsh but useful lesson. Ignore them, and this becomes a template other Sena teams will happily copy.
And every heartbeat feel the roar. With bat and ball, we're legends born. Colors bright, the picture light. For India, we'll always fight. From Delhi to the coastlines wide, the cheers are loud like ocean's tide. Every swing of hopes we chase, victory shines on every face. Shall our India rise?